with
like you have no swag, you don't have any like you're not handsome, you're not alluring. That's
Welcome back to Stories from the Internet. I wanted to talk about this issue that's been going on between Jasmine and Grenaway from the Jasmine Jasmine show and Mediocre Tutorial and Reviews. She's recently clapped back. Well, let me go over what's been happening. There's a lot of back and forth ever since Mediocre Tutorial and Reviews did a very logical and concise argument against her talking points when she was basically talking about cheating, have a reputation for cheating, and talking about having a guy not buying McDonald's for her child. So he did this video on January the 25th. She said, I have a reputation for cheating, but it doesn't matter because I'm in my prime. So he had very good talking points then. That was January the 25th. Then Jasmine replied, and then he replied to that on the 31st with a video titled, This cheater / IG model saw my video about her and fired back. This is my response. So once again, his arguments were very logical, and she kept on replying back with very fallacious arguments. Just arguments based on attacks of a person's character, him attacking his appearance, rather than the logic or content of his response. So here she back at it again. She did this yesterday, put up another video with
like you have no swag, you don't have any like you're not handsome, you're not alluring. That's why you have to do videos talking about
other people
talking about.
Yes, no.
Nothing to talk about.
He's
yourself.
literally judging women, a lot of women. He's judging a lot of women for what they say.
This is a guy who is mad at some girl who broke his heart in middle school because he was a big dork.
He's out for blood.
She went with the cool dude. That's all. Just say that.
And most of his followers are men, so of course you
think he's the only doofy nigga in school that couldn't get no bitches? There's probably a whole gang.
It's a gang of them. It's literally 106,000 subscribers are all nerds that got hurt by women.
Right. Like you have no.
Okay, we gotta break this video down because it's just full of fallacious arguments, just argumentum ad hominems, just attacking his appearance, calling him a nerd, calling his, followers really nerdy, couldn't get women, rather than sticking to the points of the argument and arguing his points with logic rather than fallacious arguments, basically. So first, they put up a screen capture of his face looking rather awkward. Like, Media Tutorial and Reviews is not a unattractive guy. He's a pretty attractive guy, and as Steph is Cold would say after making such a comment, no homo. But let's listen to, again, a little bit more of their points.
Swag, you don't have any like you're not handsome.
What does swag have to do with anything? And if it does have everything to do with everything, how do you know he doesn't have any swag? Because in my opinion, he does have swag, because his approach to presenting an argument is very logical and very straightforward. It's very concise and filled with depth is what I should say. So please explain that to me.
You're not alluring. That's why you have to do videos talking about
other people
talked about.
Yes, no.
Nothing to talk about.
but she's making videos talking about what other people talked about her, where she also talked about other people talking about her, and then they responded talking about her again, and then she's responding about that video talking about her, where she's talking about them, talking about her, talking about them, talking about her.
He's literally judging women, a lot of women. He's judging a lot of women for what they say.
This is a guy who is mad at some girl who broke his heart in middle school because he was a big dork.
He's out for blood.
How do you go off such so tangentially that it's always about getting hurt in middle school, it's always about getting hurt in high school, and some woman broke your heart, and that's why you're angry with women. He's not angry with women, I'm not angry with women. We're basically calling you out. We're calling you out that the story you spoke about, the arguments that your talking points are basically trash. They have no substance. And the Jasmine and Jasmine show is literally just digging themselves in deeper and deeper and deeper by just creating illogical arguments and ad hominem attacks.
She went with the cool dude. That's all. Just say that.
And most of his followers are men, so of course you think
he's the only doofy nigga in school that couldn't get no bitches?
You know what? We need to really look at her Instagram, because honestly, most of her followers are men as well, but it would be men just liking her pictures. She has an Instagram following of nearly 1 million subscribers. But what utility, what do you provide to have 1 million subscribers? We'll get into that a little bit later.
A whole gang.
It's a gang, and it's literally 106,000 subscribers are all nerds that got hurt by women.
Like, you have no.
You know what? She wants to put up this picture of mediocre tutorial reviews. Let's look at some goofy, stills of you, Jasmine. Oh, do you look good there? No, you do not. You look kind of awkward when I just pause the video when you are, talking, and then it looks very awkward. How about this? Yeah, you kind of look awkward there again, don't you? Same thing you're kind of doing with mediocre tutorials and reviews by doing this frame still where his mouth is a certain way and he's looking awkward. Once again, he's not a bad looking guy. He's actually an attractive guy, and that's the end of it. That's the end of your argument, is on his appearance and on his ability to attract women, which are mute talking points. But let's look at your Instagram. Let's take a look at this. Okay, 765 posts, 913k followers. So what do you have in your Instagram? Oh, pictures where of course you'd be mostly followed by men who want to like and comment on your pictures without any real genuine utility. What service do you provide? What world-changing company do you have? What are you doing by showing these pictures? These pictures only provide a change in blood flow to my reproductive organs. That's all they do. That's the extent of your utility, Miss Grenaway. That's the extent of it. 23,435 likes on this video. And what does it show? You standing in front of a elevator. Awesome. That's the extent of your utility. Let's take a look at some of these counter arguments. I'll put counter arguments in quotation marks, where she's trying to diffuse the McDonald's story by fully explaining it. But we won't even bother going over what she says. We can watch that later. We'll just go to the comments, because there's a lot of substance in these comments. So the mantras writes, I agree that a date is kind of like a job interview, and you were late for the interview because she wasn't ready, and she had to still feed her child, and asked the interviewer to take you to McDonald's to get your kids something to eat before starting the interview. But he's the problem. Exactly. A date is kind of like a job interview. I would even equate, it's a job interview, trying to find out what a person is about, what their mannerism is, and how they will react to certain things, and if you're a good match. It is very much like an interview. La Original says the whole point is that the man is not obligated, nor should he be expected to pay for your child's food. That's what everyone was up in arms about. He could just go and find a female with no kids and not have to deal with the BS. Your baby daddy should be buying the McDonald's, not another man. Good point there. That's an amazing point. Another person writes, Jose Vasquez, nobody misunderstood you. You just didn't like someone calling you out, and if you didn't care about what someone said, you wouldn't respond. Perfect argument there. Yes, she does care. That's why they both keep responding to this whole situation, because they do care. Wonderbug _ states, I don't know if you realized it, but you did it again, sis. Called out who it was wholeheartedly. I truly recommend y'all learn boundaries, what to say and what not to say. Everything doesn't need to be outed. You can have a channel and speak about things in general, but y'all gotta learn to keep the who completely anonymous. I don't know these people, but I value respect, and that's not what's happening here. Perfect point. The Duke also writes, you're a single mom. Your standards have already lowered, ma'am. Regular schmegler dudes are on your level now. Wow. Wow, okay. The GA says, a woman's greatest test is being a mother. You fail, sweetie. Nuggets, fries, and a milkshake as a classic amen. I would have happily paid for the meal, but would have known that you weren't for anything but sex. You didn't prioritize your daughter, and she's always number one, period. Also, who did you leave your daughter with who couldn't get or make food? That's a really good point right there. Excellent point. You never hold your wallet back from a woman, especially on a date. He should have paid, but he should have noticed what your priorities are. We know you could have paid for it, but it's the decisions that you make in the day that define you. Her husband just pointed out the truth. Ladies, stop talking about this. There's no way to clean this up. Some facts. You didn't prioritize your daughter. You threatened to expose your best friend's husband. Shaking my head. You feed your daughter McDonald's with a milkshake enough to call and order a classic. He should have paid. He played himself. Obviously, the man is cheap. I don't know about that. It's really up to you. Some guys are okay with paying for another woman's, a woman's kid on the first date. Some guys aren't. It can even be as close to 50-50. And it's really up to your personal preference. So I'm not going to really go out and say this guy's cheap. It's honestly really up to him. Let's go back to their audio video from the 31st of January. Cheating video updated, must watch, where they once again try and prove their points with fallacious arguments, argumentum ad hominem attacks, and really nothing of substance. But let's read the comments. Zimbabwe King writes, imagine beefing with your co-host's husband on Instagram. Imagine having your husband asking you to not expose private stuff on the internet and ignoring him. Imagine seeing your friend / co-host disrespect and insult your husband online and defending the crazy friend over the person you are married to. I feel sorry for your husband, not either of you two. Shaking my damn head. He has perfect points there. When I saw the whole trying to, accusing the husband, talking about outing the husband, and dishing out dirt, blah blah blah, that I felt that was some really disrespectful stuff, and I thought, okay, it's on now. These co-hosts are not really gonna be good with each other, but I was just surprised that the one friend was defending her other friend over a husband. I thought that was some weird stuff going on, but that's their relationship and that's how they want to deal with things, so good luck. Black Snyder replied to Zimbabwe King stating she really threatened to expose her homegirl's husband. How do you claim to respect but also threaten to expose the husband of your friend? She doesn't respect her friend, her friend's marriage, or even the sanctity of marriage. This is the reality of a lot of modern day friendships these days. This woman is walking around with one in the chamber, ready to unload on anyone that crosses her. I bet she has multiple she's waiting to use on her friend too if things go south. Probably jealous her friend is married with 2 kids while she's just a baby mama. Tight that MFs won't buy her daughter a Happy Meal. People like her are toxic, plain and simple. Preach. And there's actually a lot of good comments here, but won't take much more of your time up. The whole point of this situation is Jasmine and Jasmine show, where Jasmine Grenaway just keeps making these fallacious arguments. She doesn't bring utility to anything. She just talks, gossips, shit talks, gossips, and posts pictures that alter the brain flow of many men.